What is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. Today, we're in a new studio again.
Hey, we
got some exciting news. In addition to the usual director of Vibes, Julio Monterosa. We're bringing in a co-executive director, so both of you guys are getting some promotions. Bridget was on a couple weeks ago.
D1,
we
whatever you give the guys, you gotta give the girl.
No, yeah.
What are you doing here?
No.
I'm gonna take over.
What are you doing?
No. We ran it through HR, and so HR decided, Bridget, she's the rising tide that raises all ships. So you guys both get the promotion. Co-executive director of Vibes.
Don't like this
Julio doesn't like the competition. Now he's gonna be looking over his shoulder, but the competition is good. It's gonna raise. That overall level. Right. Yeah, but we have a special guest today as well in person.
In person.
We've been doing.
We enjoy these the most.
Yeah, we've been doing some Zoom Zoom interviews the last few weeks, and we love the Zooms.
We love
the Zooms. The vibes are different when it's in person, but you might recognize his face. You might have seen him on TV. Whether it was the LA Galaxy, you might have seen him in movies, TV shows, commercials. We got a guy, ex-Galaxy, MLS veteran, Bryan Jordan, actor, stunts. He does it all. We got.
He was a stunt double. He was a stunt double for Beckham.
That's how I got my start. Actually, that's how I got
it. But they were fighting for who could rock the ball head look way better. They were fighting for that. That was rumor. We don't know if it's true or not. Yeah, rumor has it.
But Bryan, thank you so much for taking the time to come in. Man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So actually, Bryan's been on the show in the past. He was actually the guest host one time.
Oh yeah.
Back before, back at the base before that got shut down.
I know. Up with Kobe,
with Kobe, and then I think Jordan O'Brien as well. Yes. So those are some. Go check out the archives for that one. Yeah. But he's back as a guest. What's new to you? What's good, man?
What's new? Let's see. Besides soccer stuff's always popping off left and right. But off the field, I guess, a whole bunch of movie stuff like we just chatted about. Got some film shooting tomorrow under the wraps. But yeah, that's all that's new with me.
Yeah. We'll get into the movie stuff. Let's start off with soccer. Obviously, Urban Pitch. We do the soccer stuff. LA Galaxy. Making a push to the playoffs right now. The MLS season is closing out. We're headed into October and playoffs. But what's your take on the season so far? Because it's kind of been up and down.
It has been. And the way I look at it is, if LA Galaxy gets into the playoffs, right, that's mission number one.
Right.
Then anything can happen. So as far as the fan standpoints, I know there's been some difficulties.
# get the GM out. That's what they're been saying. It's out there.
The difficult thing about that too, though, right, is like, I was just talking with someone about this the other night. It's like there's so many things that go into that. Like, so who's scouting this? That
definitely,
obviously, and two, Chris, I played with him, and I think nothing but good things. But yeah, like without knowing the full details of what all that person is in charge of, or what all plays, if that person is in charge of the whole thing, but like without knowing all that, it's just so hard to say. And even me, as being in the sport, I don't fully understand that, and so that's why I just never even come, because I just don't know.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Right, the figurehead is always the one that gets the ire directed towards them, right? I mean, you've seen that with the men's national team. Everyone was freaking out about Greg Berhalter. When, really, is he the reason for the problems with U.S. soccer? Probably not, but it's always that figurehead, the person in charge that at the end of the day, the criticism is going to be directed towards him. But, even someone like in your position who has a personal relationship with him, who works with the team, you never know what's really going on behind the scenes.
Yes, and too, like, coming at it from just the player's angle, right? Like, for example, when I left the Galaxy, like, a lot of the times, too, you don't even know what was it, the team? Was it my agent? Like, was it the player, what he's asking for? So even with me knowing that small side of it, I really have no clue how it's run, president and who's above that or what. I have no clue.
But I think they're a little scary now with the two players they've added. I believe the guy's name is
Ricky Preach?
No, not only Ricky. Ricky, you can tell he's a world class talent. But the other guy that scored just 2 goals this he just scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
No, the guy that just scored 2 goals this past Sunday. They won 4-0. I think it's not Bachman, I believe, but he just scored 2 goals. I think that they have a better squad now. They look like they're flowing opposed to LAFC, which the team I enjoy watching, go to every time.
Yeah.
They don't look like they're in tune like they should be at this point of the season.
Right, and that goes back to his point is the playoffs, anything can happen in the playoffs. It's not about who's the best team, it's who's the hottest team.
Yeah, it's really like a flow-driven thing. So like you've been talking about our ups and downs, and like we just came off of a loss in Vancouver, right? Come back home. 4-0. Obviously, there's been some shifts up. We get bolstered in our midfield. I don't know if you watched that game. I think it ended up 4-1.
4-1, 4-1. Last minute they scored a goal.
Raheem, I saw Raheem. Oh my God, he was saucy. He was saucy, man.
Nice.
Forget that guy, but yes.
So we got a pair of LAFC fans here. So we're gonna get into the little jaw-jacking banter. But we got to start off amicably and then ease our way into the mess.
I think was it the first goal? They did 3-finger pass and it just curved.
Yeah. The outside bend was
That's a ball.
But here's my thing. So I was really thrilled and impressed with this game. But everything that we've had good games, and then we don't get the PK finish, or we put ourselves in some difficult spots. This game, everything hit, and so it's not going to hit every time, every play, or whatever. So I just hope we can still maintain getting that many chances at least.
Yes, definitely.
Going into it, and then I think we'll be in a better place.
Right.
Chicharito scored again. Going back to the penalty, he done the same thing. The little chip in the middle.
That's a bold move.
That's a ballsy move. Hey, if he would have made it though, let's give him that.
Well, that's the thing. Like it takes right, and that's the risk. You risk looking like a fool if you miss it, but if you make it, you look like a Zidane.
What have you done? What have you done?
I've never been that player. I might pull one of those out in 10 PKs, but even if you know what I mean, I'd rather just pick a corner, put it there with some pace, because I mean my thing is he's still gotta make a play.
You definitely.
I mean, otherwise you could literally just stand in goal and catch, or you have to dive somewhere and do something. Yeah. So I don't know. But I mean, when he does them, it's beautiful.
He did it the game prior to that. He did it, and it came out good. And then he scored. Then he finished one to the side. So then he was like, "Let me chip this one," and didn't work out.
It's a big confidence thing. But
that's what I'm saying. He's much more confident with PK shooter.
He had the little heel goal this past Saturday as well. Smooth.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a player that I think. Obviously didn't get off to the best start when he first came in, but I mean now the last few seasons he's really like stayed healthy. Yeah. And when he's healthy, he's shown to be like a class player. So what's your thoughts on him kind of finding his groove in MLS?
Chicharito's been great. I mean, even when he came in, it's so hard for me to say too. Like when people run into injury woes, it's not like he wouldn't have been producing. Right. He's just not on the field, right? But I think even when he came in, he's been doing good things. You always saw that from the start. Keep him on the field as a mainstay this year, and he's produced as far as the goals category. And then you can say these little negative tidbits about whatever it is, but to be completely honest, who would you say is our go-to guy for goals? You know what I mean, this year? I mean, he's really been the guy that's been that guy.
Yeah, but I also think when he first came in, he didn't have those outside mids that can feed him balls at a constant level. Now he's getting more crosses going in, and let's be serious. Chicharito's not the type of guy that can take any one-on-one at any level that he played with. When he played with Real Madrid, Manchester United, he was not that one-on-one player. But if you feed him, he will produce.
Yeah, get him in that box, serve him, and he's going to be on the. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to get on the field with him at all?
I have not. I ran into him randomly in Hollywood. Maybe.
What club was it?
It was.
That was the Dos Santos brothers.
The Dos Santos brothers. Hey, they were out here. I showed them like the Phoenix, like the Beverly Center. I'm like, hey, he knows the Dos Santos brothers are out here, bro, with a good entourage all the time.
Right.
Great guy.
They enjoy their time. No, I mean,
Great guy.
you know.
No comment.
I said Bryan and the time was like 5 girls.
No. It was at a apartment building, so I wouldn't say what. But he lives the same place as one of my friends, and bumped into him, was able to say hi, and he has that whole gaming thing.
The
that's
Twitch,
right.
Twitch.
So I think that's great. It's hilarious at the same time. So I do some games, so I just.
All right.
I watch some of what he does as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Watch some game film.
Yeah.
Right.
Game on the field, and then behind the gun.
Right. Yeah. So what's your like role with the Galaxy like? Because I've seen you you're at MLS All Star. You're on the field with them. I see you in the box all the time. So how have you maintained contact with the Galaxy since your career ended?
It's been here and there because last year I actually was involved in running some of the alumni ticketing and stuff, and so making sure their experience is good and all that stuff. This year I've kind of taken on more of a third party. I was doing that last year, but there was a new head of finance that came in. He hired new marketing people, so I kind of just filled them in on what I was doing last year. But everything outside of just at stadium for Galaxy, because I still have a third party role with them. I still do commentating, and that's what they go to me as now.
Nice.
But on a day to day, I don't really have too much involvement, especially just like a lot of ex-players will ask me because I had that position.
Right.
So now I'm just introducing those people back to the club. But besides that, when we go to All-Stars or what do you call it, MLS Cup, it's kind of just me on my own. I figure what kind of business I can drive from that opportunity, and then if that all works out, I go and I have a good connection with the league as well.
All right.
Because just before that, the league has put into place a lot of alumni stuff, which I've been really personally thankful for.
And that's great.
And driving opportunities. Because look at it. Think about it like this, and maybe the viewers don't know. When you play, or at least in the past for the MLS, right? When you're done playing, it's like, unless you were like one of these big guys, it's kind of just like,
what do I do?
Thank you, see you later.
Yeah.
And not on purpose or anything. I just don't think there was something set up to where there was these opportunities that could really come out of it.
Yeah.
But I think the league's done great when you look at the NFL and looked at like how they incorporate these past players, getting them, whether it's opportunities on TV, whatever it is. I think the MLS is doing well enough now to where they can really drive some of those opportunities for past players, and they've done a pretty good job of what I'm aware of.
Yeah, and we saw something similar with Angel City, announcing something that the 22, like the Player 22 like project, where they're looking to get players like post-career opportunities, and I think the NWSL is starting to try and get into that as well, because I mean, even like the best athletes, like if you have a 10-year career in MLS, like you're 35, 36, like you got your whole life ahead of you, you know what I mean? So like trying to figure out, like, not even like in just sports in general, like like most pro athletes are lucky to have long careers. Like that's not the norm. And
definitely
so,
not.
right,
I think when I see, I don't know what it is for other sports, but I think last stat I saw for soccer was like 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
It's
quick. It's quick. Yeah.
But circling back to the alumni thing, I went to a lot of the Galaxy games last season, and you run into the Sean Franklins, the AJs, one of my childhood friends. I grew up playing for his dad's Sunday League team, Oscar Sorto. So like, so you see them run in, and they're on that restaurant. I forget what it's called.
The Stadium Club.
Yeah, the Stadium Club, and they're all out there just hanging out, talking about like past experiences, and it's great just to see them. And like you can see the fans run into them like, hey Sean, hey Oscar, like can I take a picture? Like, and everybody's just enjoying that time. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think giving the player, and so for example, fans come to the game, they watch the game, but if they got a certain interaction point, right, whether it's a current player or past player, they still have memories with those people and they want to connect, right? And for the player, if he's been out of that, let's just call it limelight, not that they're necessarily seeking that, but they do feel like, especially me, when I get back into the stadium and you get that compliment from a fan or whatever about like, that makes us feel good, because a lot of our value of what we were trying to do in life and stuff was on the field kind of things. And so I feel like for the player and for the fan, it's a really good engagement, and it drives just better fandom, I think.
Yeah, it extends their sense of like identity with the team.
Yeah.
It's just like
Value.
I remember when I saw you playing, you know, like I grew up watching you play with my parents, and now I'm here bringing my kids. Like the generational fan base, it's dope to see that, which obviously Galaxy has over LAFC.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
just
I mean,
bigger
it's
history.
a time.
Yeah.
subtle. But no. Let's talk about, because I think that's really interesting. Is that transition, the post career, like post athlete career moves, and you've obviously carved a nice little spot for yourself, whether it's either staying involved with soccer and with MLS and Galaxy, but also branching up and doing your own thing. What was that like for you once you realized, okay, maybe my playing days are over, I got to figure out something else to do? How did you kind of navigate that, and what was that process like for you?
Rough. Just because so my sister's a psychologist,
right.
and like you could talk to an athlete and ask him an honest question of like, hey, your career's gonna end one day, do you know that? And the answer is yes, I know. But you putting this off, like this is back of your mind. You're like, no, how many days? And two, you're used to injuries, you're used to whatever. And I'm the kind of, I don't know if you knew me as a player, it's just like, no, I'll go through anything, right? Like I'll put my body on the line. So at whatever point when my body just kind of wouldn't put up with me, right? I never officially retired or anything. It's kind of just one of those things where like I was crying myself to sleep with just how my body felt. It wasn't necessarily injuries. It was. Or one specific injury. It was just the culmination of just how my body felt, right? So it was either that or take a year off and just try to make your body feel better. Right. And then, talking about the specifics behind the scenes, then you'd have to explain to an agent or a team why you took this year off. And it just becomes now this huge headache of, like, for example, look at Stuart Holden. Had an injury, came back. Had an injury, dude, I have so much appreciation for that guy, right? For me, I think his injuries were even bigger, but mine, because they're muscular, it's not like I even know, you need to be working on whatever it is. It's like a muscular thing, and I'm a quick twitch sprint guy, so it's like I don't even feel bad. I feel great. You could sign me. You could literally sign me today. I could play great for 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. Play this playoff run. Playoff run.
There you go.
Sign me for playoff run.
Super sub.
Hey, but after 2 weeks, I'm done, man. No, but so to answer your question honestly, it's just like I knew my body didn't feel well. I have a very close friend, Liz Hernandez. She was in radio, and she was telling me look into other opportunities with. Different connections she could so very nicely introduced me to kind of like commercial world, and then I kind of just did the same skill set just on TV terms, so like soccer commercial stuff, and that's it. It wasn't a quick transition, but it was fairly like I could see the path, and I kind of just transitioned into that.
Yeah, she saw the jawline, and she's like, you know what,
like this guy. I might use him as my Bumble profile right here.
We got catfishing.
You're catfishing for real.
You have a picture with him, and your face is half it. No,
every picture.
That was me. I was the guy cut off. I was in that picture.
Julio's about to have a whole photo shoot.
Trust me.
Oh, is that what those photos were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those weren't just fan selfies.
It's crazy.
So how did that talk about getting into the film and TV stuff, and how were you able to use your athletic background? Because I mean, we were talking before this, you're getting into doing some stunts, doing some weapon work, and obviously having an athletic background would probably translate well. So how have you been able to leverage some of your skills into what you're doing now?
So the cool thing about that is sports has kind of kept me on the straight and narrow as far as like if my body hurt doing just one soccer thing, imagine I could just do extreme sports. I'm nuts. Like that part of the game of when I go in for tackles or whatever, that translates outside. So like the second I didn't have soccer, and it's like, okay, you don't have to protect your body per se. Well, I was on motorcycles, I was doing gun training, and so like, and I do that kind of stuff. Kind of naturally excites me. I wouldn't say amount like daredevilish, but like I have a great confidence in my body, And so therefore, with a little bit of training, I typically can get good at those things. And you don't want to just rush into something. Obviously, all the people I've trained with, shout out to all you guys, Timmy and name. But it's like, yeah, you need to learn the safety aspects.
Definitely.
Of it. All stuntmen, you'd be surprised. It's way more safety stuff than you see them doing a killer kick-ass stunt. But there is so much prep and all this stuff to make sure it goes the best it can. Right. But I guess to answer, it was just... usage of body and different stunts wise. The second I couldn't play, well, I still could, right?
We've seen you play in some of these leagues.
Yeah,
you're out here. Some of these influencer leagues, we've seen you play.
Yeah, I guess the second I accepted maybe, your body doesn't feel good all the time if you play sports, right? Yeah. The second I accepted that, it's like, oh, okay, I could do a commercial where I only have to kind of work for 4 hours and then that gets you paid. I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like a terrible trade-off. But did that answer fully? I don't know.
No, yeah. No, that's good stuff.
So just to go back to the influencer leagues, we've seen you play around in a few of them. The Surgeon, the association. How do you feel playing? I had a coach in college tell me, once you go from a certain level to go play with for fun, it's never the same. You don't enjoy it as much as people around you enjoy it. Is that true?
And I want to say this like direct. So right now, there's going to be a few people that know exactly who I'm talking to, right? So I'll look them straight in line. Yeah. I have such a hard time not taking, like a pro, right? He's played at a high, I played with Juninho, Leonardo, Marcelo Sarge, some of them.
Yeah, we saw the scuffle.
Yeah. Okay.
We were there.
Video
we saw the video. We were there. Kid had his legs dangling. We were there. No, I'm joking.
So, cut that part. No. So, like, when I show up, when I get to play with them, that's a great passion of mine.
Yeah.
Like, they're guys that you have memories on the field with, right? And sorry I couldn't laugh more at that. It's just there's so much behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
inside joke.
It's like, I think if you look at Juninho, right? I think he's played at a high enough level where he can come and he can have fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you look at my personality type, I don't care how many years or how many titles I've ever won. I can't show up to a field and not take it serious. If one person make me and start talking crap to me, I take it super serious, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I didn't play at a high level as yours, but I played college ball, and like my thing with me is like it's okay to play back. What I hate playing with people that don't know how to play is that they just want to go forward. I'm like, reset the ball. Come back. Like let's play out of the back. Like I'll find you guys. Just play the ball back. Like they're just like going forward, and like when somebody takes you not taking it serious, not getting personally mad, like I just don't get it. Like I still get angry, and my body doesn't allow me to do what I used to do.
So you would familiarize with me. I think that it's so hard for me to show up to one of those because I'm constantly, before I show up to these things, I'm like, go have fun and go network. These people are gonna have fun, and I think I do a decent job actually. But like internally, sometimes it's just like what your expectation of the game is, or even of yourself, right? It's just if you make me and I tried to laugh it off, that's like me really trying. You know what I mean?
I'll giggle it off, and I'm coming back for you.
It's like the smiling face over like the angry face, you know?
Just next play you come around, just stick the elbow a little quick. Oh, you okay? I'm sorry. Like,
didn't see you there, bud.
Stick the hip out a little bit, just hip check him like.
Yeah, actually, I got into this really big actually with Heath just a few weeks ago, and I'm so glad we've gotten to talk about it since. Because he put on a body armor challenge at the All-Stars. Yeah. And again, like, without really knowing all this stuff off the field, like, where there's sponsors involved, all this stuff, and we want this to have fun, right? And the more I am aware of that, right, it helps me to actually go and take place. Because if I don't tell myself that before that, I only show up to absolutely play. Right. You know? And I don't mean bad by anyone.
No.
I don't want people to get hurt. I'm just going to play the absolute best I can. And I only expect... That's usually why people would show up, right? I mean, I didn't know if people would show up for any other reason. So, but like, we had a really good talk about it of just like, the funness of it too, because not all people have played at that level, and you want it to be a fun, engaging thing, and I try my best.
So hard.
I try.
I'm leading red cards right now.
This is what okay. If you need it,
so bad. People are commenting on.
Julio gets mad.
they're commenting like, I played with that guy, he got a red card. Like, it's bad. No, but the thing with me is like, all right, with me, I was never the most skilled like person, but I think the reason I got my scholarship was for the simple reason that I tried super hard. Worked hard,
yes.
And then like I had no fear. Like I was a right back, so at my height, there's no reason I should be a right back. Couldn't jump, couldn't run fast. But like one-on-ones, like out balls to the wall.
Sure.
We're going 50-50.
Yeah.
And if I get the edge on you on that 50-50, you're not gonna stop hearing me talk.
Sure.
So like I was that player, always challenging everybody to a fight if I could. But yeah, like I try to go have fun. My youngest brother played pro in El Salvador. Okay. One of my great friends played pro. He played at Toronto. He's still playing Nisa to this day. And like I bring him out, and like they try to have fun, but then like they see me getting angry, so they get angry. So it's never a good time.
Yeah.
Like
it's always a recipe for some aggressiveness. Yeah.
At the base, they will have to tell me to calm down when they had it playing soccer. Yeah. It's just hard for me not to take losing serious.
Right.
Yeah, and there's got to be an understand. I feel like when you have any league, right, there literally has to be a belief going into it, though, of like, this is supposed to be for fun, but this is a competitive space.
Definitely.
And with just saying that, it should register that, like, certain people, like, for example, we could be friends.
No,
literally
definitely.
best friends.
Yeah.
And once we get on that field,
right.
I do not care, right? Like I'm not gonna hurt you, but it's just as far as giving you a hit or whatever I have for an advantage of winning, I do that, and there's got to be like an understanding for that. Most people that play sports, you have to understand.
And then there's like a line between, like if it's a pickup game, let's say you're just going with friends, there's a line of playing competitively. He said I'm there. No. Whether you can navigate it or not is one thing. You know what I mean? So there are players. And I know this because I worked at the base and I was in charge of moderating things. So like dudes like him. Okay, no, we're not getting into this. But so like if I knew someone like Julio was playing, I'm like, yo, Julio, like you got to see the vibes. If it's like completely,
but I never started things.
Right, exactly. And so
I feel like I'm like
So like the way I would like watch one game and like tell people to chill would be different than another game, because you have to like see who's playing, what the vibe is like, what they're there for. If they're all there to like compete and play hard, then you let some things slide.
Sure.
But if it's like like a bunch of dudes who aren't didn't really have that high level background, that are just there to kick a ball around and have fun, and then you got dudes like shoulder checking him into the wall, like then you gotta be like, okay, look, you gotta realize what it takes 5 seconds. It takes 5 seconds. Like even that someone like I didn't grow up playing, but like, you can tell, like I grew up in sports, I grew up playing sports, and I know when like you're playing pickup basketball, you're playing pickup whatever, like you realize, okay, like this is gonna be that kind of game.
Yeah.
And
we played pickup. Street F. Shout out to Street FC. They had like a pickup game not so long. I think you were there as well. Yeah, I was there as well with my brother and my friend with the long hair that played pro. My brother, like we were in opposite teams. He threw an elbow to my chest. I'm like, dude, like
they caught it on video.
I posted it. I'm like, this guy. Yeah. And so like next play, I give him that. I'm like, but like this, like that's how I grew up playing. I remember we played college ball a year with my brother as well, and like every practice, because I gotta give it to him. He was way better than me. But I knew if I went cleats up, not to hurt him, just to scare him, like they will back up a little bit. Like this guy's crazy. Like in practice, I probably got him. I don't know how it is in the pro game, but like I remember coming out of practice, fighting with a teammate, and like hours later forgetting about it. Did you get into any scuffle playing?
So
your playing career? Me
personally, and then too, I feel like there are these guys that like, oh, in the locker room, I know that guy's like the team clown. That guy's the team. Right. I think, and I'm not sure, perception's such a funny thing, especially now that I've been acting and stuff. It's just what people believe about you just by looking at you, and what people understand about you is different than who you actually know yourself to be, right? But one thing I think was pretty standard in that locker room was I was a highly competitive guy, even in a competitive space. Mm-hmm. And if you said I had my certain small group of friends, right? I was friendly with pretty much everybody. But if you said something towards me, right? Because I'm not just talking crap to anybody. Yeah. If you said, I would fight you over potentially anything.
All right, so give us some names. But
here's my thing.
Who did you get in a fight in practice?
As far as blows, never came to blows with any of my friends, because it's more of like I'm way more methodical than I. But even my own good friends. A shout out to Edson Buttle.
Okay.
I love the guy. I love Edson.
He was a great player, great forward.
I love Edson. And certain times, there are, especially when we played, not so much, but even post-career or whatever, we're so close of friends, sometimes you butt heads with people.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And I think he can hear this and understand that completely too. But even one time when we were playing, that's the only person I almost, went to, but would he have beat me up? Quite possibly. But my point as a small guy, and especially at the time too, and I think he really grew up more appreciation for me in that moment, was everyone knew what had happened. I'll leave that out, but it was like I felt like he was down talking me in front of others, and for that reason, and because I was a good friend of him, and I didn't understand why I deserved that, I will fight you, and potentially just to get one hit off, I will do that.
Stand your ground.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you beat me up and I punch you once, this is a trade-off for me, right?
Right.
And if you stand up for yourself like that, I feel like he did. He got a huge amount of appreciation for me, and I think he ultimately knew in that situation. Yeah, Bryan didn't really do nothing, and so we became better friends out of it.
Yeah,
So
No, I believe you. In college, we had a player that played with us in our team. He just played the Gold Cup of Guadalupe, I believe his country was. They had just came from playing against the U.S. The U.S. smacked them like 10-0 or some ridiculous number. We were going out of practice, but he was way better than me, so like I don't know what to say, so I had to hurt him. I was like, that's why you lost 10-0. and then like we're going after it, and then like he was 6'3", last man, kind of a swole guy, and then like we're in the middle talking trash. So like I'm gonna get a punch in, and they're gonna split us up.
Yeah.
So I got my punch in, and I see my team just freeze. I'm like,
oh, they did.
At that point, like at this moment here, you messed up.
They made a warrior circle and made him cage fight.
So I thought they were gonna jump in, but like everybody paused, like what's gonna happen? And he threw a big kick. Like I just saw that size 14 coming to my chest, and I'm like, oh no. And then like after he got a hit in, like of course they let him get his hit back. Then he split us up. I'm like, I got mad at my team. Like you guys jump in before he hits me back. But it was great times.
No, that's good teammates. They want to give him his chance
They're being
too.
fair.
Right? Yeah.
I was scared. I was so scared. I was like, this guy's gonna kill me. This guy's gonna kill me.
Oh man, no, but in professional sports too, it's such a weird dynamic, right? Any other workspace, like you can't really say certain things that are said in soccer or in sports in general, and then like. Too, back then we were winning championships. The guys literally from top to bottom, even though there was things written about the team to certain dynamics, I think the guys did really good of holding that professionally. Especially you wouldn't be able to tell even when you're on the team. But I know guys that literally they love each other, right? Like back then too, our squad we had huge names, right?
Yeah,
so
some major star
from Landon, Keane, all these guys.
Sean Franklin, he had national caps as well.
Eddie Lewis, so Mike McGee, all these guys too. I know certain little things between them where they're actual friends, even to this day. Yeah. But on a certain play, if you do a certain thing and you disrespect a certain person, like things pop off even in practice. And at the end, hit the showers. And by the time you're in the locker room, typically these things are like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I understood what happened, and, that's how it comes out. I just think it's such a funny dynamic.
It's usually a team clown that calms things over because he might bring it up like, so you guys are really going to fight?
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, this guy, it's crazy.
Someone tells me that
was me.
One of the,
I played a big role in my team.
But actually, before we move on too, though, I would say one thing happened to me in the last league that I wanted to bring up for sure, because talk about like a comment that really just breaks your concentration on it. We're playing in the Shoe Surgeons League, and it was like the one. No, not that one. Not that one. It was like the lead up to it, and typically, just as of late, I've been playing the peacekeeper role, right? But in the lead up to it, everyone was playing hard, and professionally, you play train without shin guards.
Yes.
Right, and so typically too on a certain tackle. I don't know. I think you guys played at a high enough level where you understand like the timing of things, right?
Yes, definitely.
Well, especially in pro when you're not wearing shin guards. Like if you go in for a certain something, like all pros will be like,
you know, you're trying to hit me there.
You know what you're trying to do, right?
Right.
And so, what I gotta remind myself is, this guy played, but maybe he didn't play at that level, right? Well, and two, he maybe doesn't know everything about me because I'm quick, so I get into a lot of situations where he thought he could probably get that.
You move a little faster than
he does. And trip and the hit is different.
Yeah. So on this one though, I really don't think he possibly was doing this on purpose or whatever, but he left his leg out, and like if I wasn't for a quick reaction, like he could have done me, right? Done me. And so I internally process that of like, oh, this person's doing it on purpose or whatever, because I know.
Right.
And so on the next play, I go and I hammer him into the wall. Am I suggesting that's what you should do? No. Like, it was a terrible thing. Like, and too, it was like, it wasn't even where the ball was. Like, you know what I mean? But after I talked to him about it, and I was trying to apologize, right? And the funniest thing was, he looks me straight in the eyes, and he's just like, I thought you were above that. And it was just like this internal guilt thing of like, bro, you're so right. Like, I should be, but I'm not. Like, what's wrong with me?
That's like the parent saying, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed.
I know. And I just looked at him like, oh man, like, what do I even say to that, dude? Yeah, so epiphany, you know, like, just.
So you were not above that.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is, like, no. Like, the thing is this, mentality, like, I want, my moral says, yeah, I should, but like, reaction, who am I on the field? Like, no, like, I'm not.
Yeah, you get to a certain point, like,
you gotta be petty in the field.
And like you said, it's your perception. Like, you understood it a certain way.
Yeah, and it's just like, but that's not a mean. It's my more will to win.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's. I'm not. He'll tell you. I didn't go out to hurt him.
No.
I went out to hit him.
Right.
And it
Just
wasn't
a
like a break.
just-
No, it was a upper body. Like,
right.
he
Just
knew
like
I was.
let him know what time it is.
Yeah. Like, you almost did, okay. If you.
Yeah.
If you played in the streets, you know about sideline pop. The minute you get to that sideline, there's a wall. You gotta nudge him a little.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't gonna fall. I was gonna. It was like a
And it was
hockey
cushion.
check.
And you had cushion.
Right.
Yeah,
It was good.
I was basically,
cushion wall.
you know, it was like a comfort thing.
You
A
were show-
love tap.
You were showing him how to be a stunt double. Like,
Exactly.
how to land on
Right,
cushion.
Exactly.
Right.
He didn't want to.
dude.
He didn't want a new career. He showed him a new path. It's not for him.
Right.
He just stick to what he's doing 9 to 5 because stunts are not for him. Like, he can't fall into a path without getting mad.
But I mean, that's what got you.
Hopefully
to
not
that
a person
point
I
in your
know.
career, right?
Yeah, and
so it's hard to let go of that because I mean, I feel like the way you played versus, you know, maybe like you mentioned Juninho, like where, you know, they play.
He's such a class player.
There's like differences in playing styles to where, like, when you
Was that a put down? Did you hear that?
That was. He said,
Not to you. Not to you.
Yeah, he had class.
Yeah. No, not like that. I'm saying like that.
But like,
No, his touch was like, you know.
This is why I'm here.
I'm beating it.
Hey, you know, hey, come at me. Let the field outside. Like 5 minutes, we can get this shit going.
But no, I mean, because that's what made you who you were, right? And it's hard to let go of that. Like, even when you're playing just for fun, like, you know, that's part of your identity as a player. So, like, you know, you can't let go of that. And
as far as respectful, let me ask you this too. I feel as far as like honor goes, you know that about me, and I communicate. I want you to know I wear my heart on the sleeve, whatever.
Yeah.
Because there are those people that like, oh, you think they're a nice guy, and then they stab you on the back. I feel like it's more honorable, even as a warrior or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't want injuries upon you, but if I tell you to your face, I'm going to hurt you or whatever it is. Like, that's exactly what I'm going
We're
for.
We're the same person.
Yeah.
We're the same person.
You're not going to be a snake about it.
No, it's straightforward. Because I came here to play as hard as I can. If you can beat me doing that, right? But if there's any extra whatever,
all right. So like, let's playing devil's advocate. Some people say that's as a part of the game though, like because some people are opposed to VAR because if you can get away with it, it's part of the game, or don't have the little hand to go. So how do you feel about that?
That's such a great point. Oh my god. I believe but I think this answer is coming from one perspective, and that is when I grew up.
All right.
So when I grew up, right, like they kind of tell you to sell the fouls.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
in soccer, the biggest problem is this. Check this out. So the youth grows up a certain way expecting a certain something, right? Like, oh, yeah, you can sell it. You can trick this referee. Well, now that you get to the professional level and you try to sell that foul, well, 14 cameras just saw you. And now this is like you faking or whatever, right? Well, that's such the hard thing about the sport because I think it would have to be chosen. Okay, the league wants to do it via video. Well, then it could negate a lot of the acting or whatever. But I really think if there's a referee involved, I do think there's these little things that you should... Like, for example, if I kick it and it's in between, I kind of know it went out on me. I'm going to say
It
was out on them.
Right.
And typically, I'm not the biggest liar out of that thing. Because typically, if it's a throw-in, it's a throw-in.
Yeah.
But I really do, as far as the competitive spirit, I think it's understood why both teams would say, no, it's my word. It really is.
But in soccer, I feel like out of all the sports, like that, like gamesmanship is much higher level than other sports. Like I feel like, you know, like even in basketball or whatever, baseball, like they're still kind of like fighting for like, oh no, I was safe, or no, that was off him, that was off. You always see that, but in soccer, I feel like they're a lot more devious about it, to where the ball's out, like maybe not that clearly on you, but you're picking the ball up and ready to throw it in, while the other guy's like trying to fight for the ball. And then my favorite part is when the ref calls it's out on you, instead of giving him the ball, he tosses
now you gotta throw it back in the air, because you gotta get your position back. You can't,
right? No. So that to me, I love that stuff. I love watching that stuff. And people are like, oh, you know, there's not sportsmanship, but dude, like,
it's a part of it.
But
right, yeah.
There's also an unwritten rule that in the corner kicks in that box, I don't know, like that's where things are coming, like elbows are flying.
The quick one.
Yeah, in the box, like those.
It's like a scrum.
I remember growing up, my dad was like, "Yeah, in the box, just throw elbow, move out the way real quick."
Yeah.
I have some war injuries from in the box. I have a crooked finger due to a tore a what do you call
ligament?
It? Yeah, ligament out of my this little seam right here. Just if anyone didn't know, is the strongest seam on a shirt, I guess.
Okay.
And
you were grabbing it?
Yeah, I was pulling the guy back to me, and that never. So this is a perfect example, actually, of who I am mentally. So I was losing this battle. Someone set a pick for my player. So like basketball, right?
Yeah.
And this guy had scored in the first half. I wasn't in. So
and you were known as an athletic player. You could jump.
Yes.
With the best of them.
Yes. And so Bruce knew that, and he didn't care if it was the target guy, a big guy, or whatever. He put me on that guy. Okay.
Started jumping a few times.
And so they picked me, and I was like, "Oh, you're not getting late." So I feel like if your arm's extended, they can see the pull.
Yeah.
But if it's close here,
right.
So I'm just pulling him with, and all I have is that one hand on him, right? And it's my left, which isn't my power, and my middle finger gets caught on this thing. And so then it got to a point where it's like, I knew I was gonna lose this fight. And do you just try to let go, or what do you do? But then I still fought it, and so it was like, imagine he must have weighed 180, 190. And then with the torque of you running away from the other. Yeah. So it must have been, I don't know, 500, 600 pounds of pressure. And so it just won the fight. And it was in New York, so I couldn't feel it. And so I look at my hand and I go to, I'm not flipping off the camera, but I go look at my hand and I went like this, and my middle finger just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it messes with your brain. If you can just look at your hand and move your fingers,
right,
you don't really appreciate like how crazy that is, right? And it just wouldn't work, and it just tripped me out.
Did you stay in the game?
I did. I finished that game out, but I don't think I played that well because it literally started on fire. It was really cold in New York. Yeah. And it was just like so I was just like looking at my hand the rest of the game almost. I got a few other good opportunities, but yeah. Don't think I played as well as I could have now that
I mean, that's a pretty good excuse to have.
Yeah. All right, so talking about that before we move on, what is your welcome to MLS moment? Like, what do you remember? Like, what player you like? Damn, this guy just megged me, and I'd expect this.
Oh, I could never say that.
Never. Too much pride. Too much
pride. All right,
I don't think that.
You already lost that battle. You lost that battle in the box. What other battle that you remember losing?
Never lost.
Never lost. Big baller brand.
Well, this wasn't my welcome to MLS. I would say there's two different stories. Welcome to MLS was just coming from. So I played in Portland when it was USL.
Yeah.
And I had such an amazing experience up there, man. I really do have an appreciation for the soccer up there and the fan base. For that level, I just think it was tip top, right? So come from there, which I already had a good experience, to LA Galaxy. And it was the kind of media frenzy around David Beckham, right? And kind of just, and look, I had actually played in some practices against Landon growing up or whatever. He was on an older version of the team I was on, and I knew these guys, right? But like, just as far as how the media was, we went to a trip in Hawaii, and there was like people camped out in bushes, and I just like, we went to Asia, and they almost like pushed over our bus, and just like, you're just not aware of those things unless you knew celebrities, which I never knew.
Be honest, did you think the cameras were for you or for Beckham?
Oh, I was stuck double, right? So I thought it was basically. Actually, no. My coolest welcome to a moment. I actually remember when we went on that Asia trip. obviously you're just this rookie. Everything's for these big players or whatever. And there was one sign in Korea for Bryan Jordan. And it was such like a surprise, even for the coach. Our coach was Rude Bullet at the time.
All right.
And so Rude, Kobe Jones, and David said, "Oh, you know, you have fans. You better go outside and sign for them, right?" And it was like, oh, like 'cause this is like my first, as far as the MLS was concerned, right? In a different country, like how the hell would they know me?
Right.
And so they sent me out of the bus and they recorded or whatever, and I did. I felt special in that moment. So that would be my welcome to.
So how do they become Bryan Jordan fans?
I really don't know. I tried to figure out how they would even know, and it's possible. The only thing I ever gathered was I think one of those people followed me on Facebook.
Oh, MySpace.
I'm not that old. No, but I had my.
No, I'm joking. Such a great podcast.
They followed me on Facebook, and I think it's possible they randomly supported this guy on the Portland Timbers. He came over from Japan. And so maybe they just followed that for a short time, knew of me from that, and then all of a sudden I just showed up and I was in a close enough region, and that's how they knew me. Wow. But to the bad the welcome in a bad way, I remember a specific story in a paper I was upset about. But so we played Real Madrid 3 times.
All right.
Got to play against Cristiano. I do.
You scored, right? In one of those games.
I didn't. I scored an AC Milan.
Okay.
But against them, I did pretty well in our first matchup. But the second time we played them, I think he remembered this and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna freaking make this." So he has a play. I think I do really well on it. Show him very shallow angle on his left foot. He shoots from like.
It's Cristiano.
Yeah, 3 yards up, off of the baseline on his left. I think I did a pretty good job as a defender, okay? Not blaming on my goalie or nothing like that, but like somehow this guy's so good, it freaking goes in, right? Well, they wrote it up in the paper. I was like, Cristiano's dance partner, Bryan Jordan, and it's in my hometown, LA, right? Like all my friends were at that game.
I was at that game.
Wow. LA Times, thank you.
Is that the game at the Coliseum?
Yeah.
If Twitter was bigger back then, they would have like photoshopped some like merengue, some.
But no, you gotta think about it. Like, you're like coming to the MLS is against Cristiano Ronaldo compared to other players that had nobodies compared to Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's what LA Galaxy afforded you.
Yeah. Well, and what people don't know too about that is, so that was the second time I played, but the first time I ever played right back professionally, I think was against Cristiano in a
welcome to the show.
Yeah, but I took it, I guess, as a compliment. Bruce had that much confidence. I was like, damn.
What a great coach. But
Yeah.
you got to give him his flowers. Bruce is American legend.
Right. Yeah.
I have so much respect.
And kind of forward thinking, they're putting because I mean now you see it all the time where they have they make the forward to right back or outside back transition. Whereas I don't know when that exactly like became more popular, but that style of play, where you put wings on the outside back position now to play a lot more offensively.
Yes,
so.
I mean if you even think about that position though, really. Or just think about soccer players, and I don't mean to down talk any defenders here, but let's just talk about skill sets, right? Mm-hmm. So a creative center midi or a forward, you have, as far as finishing, there are some great center backs that can finish, but typically that's not what you're practicing. So if you talk about just as far as who's more dangerous running with the ball and attacking, it's an attacking player, right? Yeah. If you could get one of those people to understand defense and then have that skill set going forward, it's logical that your best outside backs would be maybe pass forwards that can now adapt or whatever in that sense. Some defenders, though, the one name I'm thinking of is like a Todd Donovan, right?
All right.
Take a Todd Donovan, and some people, just their knowledge about where they have to, like, for example, I'm much quicker than Todd. But Todd's been through so many situations where he knows how close or how far he can be to a person. And so I feel like that's a huge instinct that a defender just needs to know. And sometimes that can't be taught.
Yeah, that's
so I always meant, yes.
Right.
And so
Chiellini.
Exactly.
Chiellini. This guy is not fast, but to beat him position-wise, like, all right, you might beat him one-on-one, but like a long ball over his head, I've seen him play, like, I'm like, all right, this guy's half of the player he was in Juventus, but like, he's never in a bad position. He's always good. Like, He knows to stand, winning every header at 40 years old.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. So that's one of the big counterpoints to that. It's just like I think there's a natural sense of it. But again, with more practice out of that, put an attacking player in that position for at least give him some experience. And I'm
Alfonso
sure,
Davis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
pick these things up, and they'll
Right.
He was playing forward right here in USL with Vancouver, and then sent him to Bayern Munich, and he's a right back, one of the if not the best, one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
So going back to the frenzy when Beckham was there, how was the nightlife?
Nightlife. So the funny thing about that question is though, when I played and stuff, so I didn't drink alcohol ever. And then as far as like towards the end of my career,
You were like, yes, groupies, okay, come through.
no, I never even been a groupie guy either.
He's been through the media training.
He's good.
He knows.
The funniest thing about that though is like I think again talking about perceptions, I think that you would never know if I'm lying or not on this, but I told you I'm pretty straight up.
All right, so he's lying.
Straightforward guy. He's not
I
established with
am
that.
kind of that boring type. Like there are the playboys out there or whatever, and I think maybe certain people think a certain thing, but like I just never had been that guy. But I did go out as far as team celebration and stuff. Like yes, I definitely went out, but I never had the crazier stories because I was leaving alcohol out most of the time.
This guy's good.
Yeah.
He couldn't break me. He couldn't break me.
He's not for the streets.
He's working a number on Bridget right now.
She's been quiet the whole episode. She's been quiet.
Dude, like I want somebody to stare at me like she's staring at Bryan Jordan. That's what I want in my life. Oh my god. If I can find somebody to stare at me like Bridget stares at Bryan Jordan, I'm getting married, dude.
Oh my god, I'm listening.
She's engaged.
Yeah, I'm engaged.
Right, Ramsey?
We gotta get a close up. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. We'll leave Bridget alone.
We'll leave Bridget alone.
It's her first day on the job. It's her first day in a new position.
It's a rookie hazing. So any rookie hazing that you have in your
They're
firm.
always coming from me.
Yeah. I mean, especially So when you were first on the team, there's some heavy hitters. Were they putting you through rookie duties at all?
Yes, this is a huge topic for me that I pass on to other people because what people don't understand is like how much of the professional game is mental, right? And some of it's on your own team. Like you're taking jobs from another person that could potentially kind of be your friend, and so like think about it, there's way and that was a rough part for me because again. I told you, I'll fight you, right? And so it's like, and I would never intentionally, I think the hardest thing for me was like, if you play the same position, I always found now that I look back at my career, and I try to tell this to people that currently play, a lot of, I don't know, some forwards, I guess if you started with another guy, you could be friends. But like a lot of forwards, like one's starting, one's not, I've found that they're not usually the best of friends and stuff, right? And I never could be. I know if you played a similar position to me, my friends when I was playing were AJ and Sean and Hector. And even Hector, right? He played outside midi a bit, and so sometimes me and Hector would even have more of a clash of heads than the other two, right? And I just find that was naturally with me, and it wasn't because I didn't like these people. It was literally just my competitive side, and it doesn't allow me to. And now that I'm post playing, I try to tell those same people, like, I'm a different person off the field. I swear. I'm not a but it is. It's so true. It's so true. And I think those people, once they retire, too, like, they will come to that.
Those three guys, AJ, Hector, and Sean Franklin, such great friends. I have a mutual friend, Chris Crico.
Yeah, Crico.
Crico. And, like, man, I just tell those guys, sometimes I would be with Crico and I just see them guys, how they joke around with each other, and it's amazing, the bond that they have.
Yes, it's a close group. I mean,
I
don't know if they're calling us the Musketeers or something, or a boy band back then, but
the boy bands were true.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, not everybody can be Beyonce. I'm Beyonce, Michelle, and Kelly.
He's been putting this false narrative that he's Beyonce of this whole entire thing. But
okay. Beyonce of the group? Yeah, you gotta claim it.
You gotta claim it. Dude.
I mean, you can talk. He's all talk, you know. So, I mean, if you know.
He has a habit because, like, the backup singer always wants to be on top.
Internal stride.
That's where we butt heads at Ramsey, but it's cool.
We're gonna be a few years from now. We'll have our own solo careers. And, then we'll see.
It's a challenge now.
Now we're gonna have it behind the music.
Right. Yeah.
But you guys are talking about rookie hazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So back on that topic. So the crazy part too is I played USL Then I came into MLS. So it was kind of rough for me because it was like
double rookie.
So I go there, and as a rookie, it was rough because there was only 3 rookies that year. Me, Lawrence Olam, which ended up playing in Kansas City later, and David Haig. And I don't know if he went on, but a very good English attacker guy. And sometimes only one would travel. And so our responsibilities were every morning, and in Portland, it was rainy and cold, or whatever, you had to get there early to bring the goals out. And there were those big metal ones, right? Yeah. Well, and I love these guys, but David Haig would get there a little late sometimes, and Lawrence Olam was very casual with when he strolled in. And so it was like, me, am I going to pick up the whole goal? I couldn't. But all the guys don't care, and they're just yelling at you the whole time. So I didn't, as much as like mental fortitude, I think, there's this huge talk online now about giving 8th place trophies and to the kids or whatever. Sure. And I do believe that like there's something about mental fortitude to be able to deal with not the best situations, because it makes you a tougher person. Sure. And you have to be able to, there's people talking crap on Twitter. You have to be able to deal with these things, right? But at the same time, yes, we do want inclusionary, and you want to make it the best environment, but some of these things you just can't escape, especially in professional sports. Yeah. So it was rough, and too, when we would travel, if I was the only one travel, I had to get all the bags. And so I would have to make, literally, from the baggage claim to the bus, back and forth.
Oh, my God.
So it was a nightmare, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. So they weren't even helping you?
No, that was important. Some of the guys that don't care, they would get their bags or whatever, right? But most of the guys were like, right, they had to deal with something, so you got to deal with it. But I ended up going on, I was one of the leading scorers that year, and so I was high on myself that year. I really didn't have a lot of expectation, right? And I was doing well. So now I think, I'm doing good. I'm one of the headliners on our team. And so the Galaxy buys my contract. So I wasn't ever drafted or whatever, but like they knew you specifically. They bought you. So they made good on a promise to me. They actually made me. They said if I did well, they would buy my contract that next year. They did exactly that. So now I'm coming in thinking, well, I'm not really a rookie. But that's not the way everybody else saw it, right? So I had to do the rookie hazing. We had to dance at some nightclub overseas.
Oh, so bad at nightclub.
So that's where I got more of my dancing skills and stuff. What else? Yeah.
You didn't have to cut your hair bald? I know, like.
No, I had a shaved head already, so that would work perfect for me. But that's all it was really on. Oh, the only other thing on the Galaxy I'll say was, coming from Portland, I was willing to, so I could get massage when I wanted to or whatever. Well, shout out to Jovan, and if Jovan doesn't know, Jovan was very difficult for me too, because I respected Jovan's career. One of the first Americans who played in Champions League and all that stuff. So it's like, this guy you look up to. At this time, I'm young. I'm very competitive. I think in my skill set, like, I can beat anybody, whatever. But I was coming, and I wanted to be respectful too. You want to have a liking between the guys, especially a guy that you appreciate. And he would give me a lot of shit for, and maybe I just wasn't aware of it because I was this young guy. But I would lay on the tables for massages first before some of the older guys. And in my mind, I'm dead serious. So I was scoring a goal a game in my reserve league. When I had my first start, I scored. So I was scoring goals. Yeah. As far as my job, I was doing my job. Right. And I work hard. My body hurt. You see where I am right now, right? Yeah. And so whether Jovan believed it or not, my body was sore. I want to get this dang massage. Right. But he would give me so much crap about laying down before the older guys. And it affected me a little bit. Like, I didn't want to be mad. Yeah. And I didn't want to be mad. But it's like, what do you do? Do I just not get the massage until later then? Or like, what? It's a weird dynamic.
And then you get the Kobe treatment when he tells the rookie get off the bench, go sit on the floor. Remember that game?
Yeah. Was it soccer? Was it soccer that
I believe so. He's like, get off the bench. I sit down. Go sit on the floor.
It happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of the things where, like, you're hurting, but you also don't know how, like, what hurting
for them. Right. He's had a whole career ahead of him.
Exactly. So while you understand, like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sore.
Yes.
Like, you might not understand what's sore 10, 15 years later.
Yes.
So that's one of those things where it's like you're both right, but you don't really.
Yeah.
It's
thing about sports. Yeah.
The great equalizer.
And then too, it as the years go on, you know exactly how that guy feels, right?
Yeah.
But there is a difference. I feel like for young guys, making the young guy aware is one thing. I'm a big fan on that. And that's why I feel like at times I would fight a person, because I make them aware of exactly what the expectation was. I don't think you'll ever kind of explain to maybe, if you would have put me, yo,
communication.
Yeah, like I've had freaking 10 years. I wouldn't have been like, I don't care. I'm the bot. Like I wouldn't have done that. Understood. You know, I just didn't even understand why this person was giving me this hard.
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
He's got to communicate his perspective.
Yeah, and I don't think he did anything wrong. I would have listened to whatever he had to say.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I got you. All right, yeah, for sure. All right, well, look, we're running a little low on time here. I mean, this has been fantastic. But before we wrap things up, our guy Julio here has some hot seat questions.
I'm gonna keep him simple. I feel like we put him through it already.
Yeah, he's been on the hot seat the whole time. But
but just start off. Start one, cut one, bench one. AJ, Sean Franklin, or Hector.
Oh God!
Start, bench, cut.
Shout out to Sean Franklin though.
Start, bench, cut. And is it on their current performances, or
it's just, whatever you want it to be, just like on friendship wise.
You decide.
Oh, that's such fucked up. But I feel like they know this. They know this, right? Start, bench, cut. I would say. So my roommate was Sean Franklin, so I'm starting him. I'm putting AJ on the bench, and I'm cutting Hector only because we were same position, so we had that head-to-head buck.
It's a ginger in him.
and shout out to Hector, dude. Yeah,
I mean, I love the guy too, but
all right, best nightlife. Like the few times you did go out while you were in the road playing MLS, who had the best nightlife? Who had the best fans? Who had the best people trying to come up to you guys?
So you're talking about specifically on the road?
Yeah, on the road.
Best city.
Besides LA.
Yeah.
I had a good night in Toronto. Toronto was really cool. New York was always a good time. Some of these new places weren't in, so I never have been to some of the newer states. I would love to go check those out, but I did. I had some good times over there. New York, Toronto.
Old Galaxy or new Galaxy?
That's a rough one. As far as like appreciating my time, I would say. Well, wait. When is Old Galaxy?
That's true.
Is it when the logo switches?
Is it when the logo switches? Yeah. The old jersey,
basically, it's post Beckham, pre Beckham.
Yeah, post Beckham, pre Beckham.
These are crap questions because it's difficult. It's difficult, right? I would say new just because that was my time. But I did remember. So I grew up in Pasadena. I was growing up with the old logo.
All right.
Like I was so on that until I was just on this new team, and so I kind of just adapted to what that new was. And I feel like Kobe Johns, we pulled a lot of those guys, with us. Yeah. So yeah.
All right, so if you're like you and Bridget a night in the town, where will you take her?
I would take her first on a lovely stroll.
Ooh.
Gotta get a little warm up chat. To get the connection. And then we'd pick. I'm a foodie. I would probably ask what kind of food she prefers first, and then I would let that fill me in on where I would take it.
Then you go to wherever you'd want to go.
Yeah, and then I totally negate that. And then
She's Mexican. She's gonna say tacos.
If you know me, that's perfect.
Oh, there we go. There's a comment already. That's the last one. Thank you so much, Ryan, for coming out.
Yeah, I mean, wait, but you got to say best tacos in LA.
Yeah, it's best tacos in LA.
Oh God, that's crappy a question as well. So, I've always grew up on King Taco, okay?
Ooh,
but King Taco is a very simple taco.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the caveat. I'm this kind of guy. Do you know what a molita is?
Yes.
So I'm this like, who hates melted cheese? Nobody, right? If you do, it's great. So it's like, if you give me like just a taco spot that has like melted cheese on it, usually streetcar, and so that's why it's like I can't name the place. It's just if you find a melted cheese with carne asada, it's like okay, there's a winner right there.
It's a real LA because he can say the restaurant. He's at the old guy with the greasy hands.
Yeah, right.
Dirty fingernails, just throwing them.
Adds extra flavor.
Extra
flavor. Yeah, he knows. Extra flavor.
I know.
There you go. Happy Hispanic heritage one, guys. There it is.
That was totally planned. man.
That was great. That was magic.
Oh man! All right, so let's wrap things up. Bryan Jordan, thank you so much. This was a great time. For Julio Monterosa, Bridget Flores, and Bryan Jordan, I'm Ramsey Abushala. This has been the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. Keep it tapped in. We got more great episodes with the new co-executive directors of Vibes. Until then, we'll catch you guys next time.
There we go.